2025 could possibly be the very best year of Pokemon Go we've ever had, and I'm going to be talking about why I believe that in this video. Let's get right into it. Alright, how's it going everyone? Count Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So we are approaching the end of 2025, and I want to take a look back at this year because, in my opinion, this is probably the best year of Pokemon Go that we've ever had. And the reason why I say that is because we've gotten some really awesome Pokemon this year, and of course, we had a lot of features that were added to Pokemon Go, which I think a lot of players really enjoyed. So yeah, that's pretty much what this video is going to be all about. I do think there are many reasons why Niantic is just on a hot streak, and I think we need to give credit where credit is due. For the longest time, it felt like Niantic was just a step behind what players have been wanting for Pokemon Go, but things have definitely changed this year because when it comes to the features, when it comes to the Pokemon that they released, I really feel like it's hard to make the case that any other year that we've had of Pokemon Go is better than the one we had this year. Right, so first let's talk about the Pokemon releases. I think two in particular really stand out, or actually I'm going to say four. There are four Pokemon that were released that I feel like were massive game changers. And I'm of course talking about White Kyurem, Black Kyurem, Crown Form Zacian, as well as Crown Shield Zamazenta. Actually, it's Crown Sword, not Crown Form. I make that mistake quite a lot, but these four Pokemon are insanely powerful, whether it be for raid battles or even in PvP. They've kind of become staples. They are basically the top tier when it comes to Pokemon Go's raid battlers, and I think their release has definitely made Pokemon Go just so much better. I think up until this point, we had a couple of Pokemon that were definitely heavy hitters, but with the release of these four Pokemon, they've definitely changed the game for the better. I think certain raid bosses are much easier now. Basically, these four Pokemon are about as powerful as even a Mega Evolution, and I will say that in general, the game just feels a lot more fun with the introduction of these four Pokemon. I think there are certainly players out there who will want to use the fusion forms for Black Kyurem and White Kyurem for raids, but they also came with adventure effects that are extremely useful. And when it came to Crown Sword Zacian and Crown Shield Zamazenta, they are obviously really good for raids, but in particular, they're really good for Dynamax content. So I think overall, the Pokemon releases are one of the biggest staples for 2025. And it's not even just these four. There's a lot of notable Pokemon that were released this year. For example, Eternatus. This is one of those Pokemon that was often considered to be one of the very best that you could ever get. And yeah, it was released to pretty much everyone. Pretty much anyone can get it. I thought that was really cool about this one Pokemon. Unfortunately, I was actually traveling to Korea at the time of the global Pokemon Go Fest. So unfortunately, I was not able to get Eternatus, which is really sad and embarrassing, but I will get this Pokemon one day, and I do think it's going to be one of the best Pokemon that's going to be in my collection, so I'm looking forward to that. And another thing that I really felt like was a big standout when it comes to Pokemon releases was some of the new Pokedex entries and the new Mega Evolutions. We saw finally the release of Mega Metagross. That was a pretty big deal. This is a Mega Evolution that a lot of players were anticipating. It is by far the best Steel type in the game, and when it comes to Steel type Mega Evolutions, we were certainly lacking up until Mega Metagross. So I do think Mega Evolutions was another thing that Niantic focused on that was really cool about 2025. It was definitely just one of the best when it came to Pokemon releases, and we've had years where we've gotten Mega Rayquaza or the fusion forms of Necrozma. There was just a lot of years where we've had solid Pokemon releases, but I don't think any of them compare to this year. It was definitely one of the best. Now, another thing that happened this year, which I think is a huge highlight, is of course the increase to the level cap. Right now, for the trainer levels, you could go up to trainer level 80. And this was something that was a bit of a pleasant surprise. I did not expect Niantic to ever increase the level cap. Originally, it was set to, I believe it was 70 or 60. Regardless, it was crazy. Like what am I saying? It was actually up to 50. So going up to trainer level 50, that was already a huge accomplishment, but Niantic surprised us and increased it to level 80. And of course, they also scaled the leveling system so that you could get rewards more frequently. I thought that was a very positive change, especially for newer players. And then in general, it gave a lot of longtime veteran players something new to work towards. And right now, it's all about grinding to level 80, and you need an insane amount of experience, and you also have to complete all these very difficult tasks. It's really nice that they added some stretch goals to Pokemon Go, because that was something that I have been saying as a bit of feedback for Pokemon Go for the past, I want to say like 4 years, that Pokemon Go is lacking in stretch goals. There's a lot of things that would make Pokemon Go something that would cause players to play every single day, and increasing the level cap, that was certainly it. So kudos to Niantic. I think they deserve a lot of credit. Increasing the trainer level cap, that was definitely something that was a huge positive for Pokemon Go, and it was just another thing that made 2025 one of the best years we've ever had. And then finally, this is the one thing I really want to talk about, and this is probably the best thing of this year. I really do think this is one of those things that is going to make Pokemon Go so much better for the foreseeable future, but that is the release of the silver and golden bottle cap. Now, hear me out. I do think there's a lot of players out there who will say this was not one of the major highlights of 2025, but I disagree. I think releasing bottle caps into Pokemon Go at this point was just the right thing to do, because I think a lot of players are at that point where they just care about IVs of certain Pokemon. I think a lot of players want to get Shundos. It's not so much about completing the Pokedex anymore, because players do feel like either they've already completed their Pokedexes, or because of the Go Tour events, they're eventually going to complete the Pokedex. So in terms of long-term goals, that is no longer on the radar for a majority of players. So I think IVs are what matters, and for a lot of people, they tend to get burned out because they do hundreds of raids of a particular legendary and they do not get the IVs that they want. But then comes bottle caps. This is an item where you could hyper train a particular Pokemon that you use it on, and you're able to get it to 100% IVs. Or if you're just using the silver bottle cap, you could at least get 15 IVs of a particular stat. It's a really great addition to Pokemon Go. And I think for a lot of people, they might think like it's a bit of a cash grab, that you do have to spend money for these special items. But let's think about it. If you were to do hundreds of raids of a legendary Pokemon in order to get perfect IVs, let's say for a Shundo, you're going to be spending way more money on raid passes compared to whatever it is, the $20 that it costs to get yourself a bottle cap. So I think it's all really good. And the nice thing about it is that it's not an instant upgrade. You still have to earn it. When you use a bottle cap on a Pokemon, you have to go through hyper training, which is actually incredibly difficult and time consuming. So I love this system. I think Niantic did a fantastic job in everything that they're trying to do for Pokemon Go to make it a much better game. Bottle caps are definitely a part of that. I really do think overall, this was one of the best things to happen to Pokemon Go during this year. So yeah, these are the main things that I want to highlight regarding 2025. If I were to look back at this year as a whole, I do think there were certainly ups and downs. There were certainly moments where I just feel like Niantic were making huge missteps, but overall, I think they did a fantastic job. And I didn't even mention Pokemon Go Fest and Go Tour. I did not go to the live Go Tour event, but I at least went to the live Go Fest event in Jersey City. And as always, they do a fantastic job with live in-person events. And this year's Go Fest was actually pretty cool, specifically because that was the event where they introduced Crown Sword Zacian and Crown Shield Zamazenta. Wow, finally I said Crown Sword instead of Crown Form. But yeah, I think it was all a lot of fun. And it was great to meet a whole bunch of trainers that I haven't seen in a while. It just felt like there was just a lot of positive vibes around this year's Go Fest in particular, because the game was doing really good. And I think overall, Niantic is doing an incredible job with Pokemon Go, and I really hope 2026 will even top 2025. And I have a lot of faith that they will. One of the things that I think does not get mentioned is that, of course, this is essentially the new Niantic. This is the new Pokemon Go after Niantic Games was sold off to Scopely Inc. I think a lot of players had a lot of question marks and a lot of concerns regarding that sale, but we're seeing the benefits of it. Certainly, there is a lot of new monetization schemes, but it doesn't seem like anything is overly predatory at the moment. I really do think the vibes are really good. And 2025, in my opinion, was one of the first years where I just went into the next year feeling incredibly good about this game. So yeah, give credit where credit is due. I think Niantic is doing really great. Maybe that is a result of the Scopely buyout. Maybe all of the higher ups that were causing Pokemon Go to not be a good game are no longer in charge. And maybe it's just Niantic Games, like the people behind Pokemon Go, they're finally able to make Pokemon Go the way that they want to make it. So yeah, overall, things are looking good, and I'm looking forward to 2026. But in any case, that's essentially going to be it for this video. Definitely share your thoughts regarding everything that I talked about down below. Is there something in particular with this year that you feel like was such a huge standout? Make sure you mention what it is in the comments section, and yeah, let's have a great discussion. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here. That would be a huge help to my channel. Also, make sure you turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when I upload videos. That is definitely something that I'm going to try to do a lot more in 2026. And yeah, just I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this year. I certainly did. I think there's a lot of great things in store for Pokemon Go, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, and I'll catch you in the next one.